I think my life has been quite a story, and I sometimes wonder, is it me? Or what is it all about? It's like writing a book, and I think nothing would have happened if I hadn't given birth to my daughter Tamanna. Other women would sit away from me. They said, ये छुआछूत की बीमारी हो गई है. Somebody said, इस पे झाड़ू
फूक करो कुछ
करो.
करो.
Somebody would say, ये आपके ना पुराने जन्मों का कुछ वो है. And I would tell them, सब कुछ हो सकता है, लेकिन मुझे तो इसका जन्म बनाना है, मुझे ये जन्म अपना बनाना है, मुझे कुछ करना है, मुझे कुछ करके दिखाना है. And that kept me going. The disabled cannot be shut in the cupboards. They cannot be under the beds. They have to be brought out, and Tamanna will lead.
Welcome to another episode of Unbox with Tunvey, a podcast, a show where we try to unravel, understand, and really celebrate human behavior through conversations with people who've broken barriers, who've led unconventional lives, and have dedicated their lives to making a difference in the world. And today, the person I have with me has truly broken so many barriers, and she has changed lives of so many people and touched so many children's lives. She's an educationist to reckon with. She's on multiple boards and multiple school committees. She has not only won the Padma Shree but the Padma Bhushan as well. I think she's the only educationist to have that honor. And she's the founder and director of Tamanna School and has been the principal of DPS RK Puram many years ago. Please help me welcome Dr. Shayama Chona. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you, thank you.
You were in the Limca Book of Records for having won in, I think, 2007, the maximum number of awards. I think the reason I bring this up or I start with this is that you have actually broken so many barriers that people were forced to recognize the work that you've done. I was seeing this wall, there's Bill Gates, there's Mrs. Murthy, and Princess Diana came to open the school. What really gave you the strength to do all of this?
I think my life has been quite a story, and I sometimes wonder, is it me? Or what is it all about? It's like writing a book, and I think nothing would have happened if I hadn't given birth to my daughter Tamanna. So I think I am what I am because of her birth.
And a lot of times when we're going through challenges or tough times, we're constantly saying, why me? Why is this happening to me? But your story is actually just the opposite. When you were faced or when you were given a challenge, so to speak, it transformed your life journey completely, right?
I fully agree with you. When Tamanna was just born in my arms and I looked at her, she was a broken doll. And of course, I loved playing with dolls when I was small. And I said, yet another doll, but so different. And she could barely see, but one thing she had, which was a smile. And that smile was so enchanting. It was so promising. It was a hope. And that smile told me, Mom, I know you think I'm a broken doll. But let me tell you, I'm born for you, I'm born for the world. And what I understood from her was that she's telling me, without a single word, that there is something for you to do. So,
it was a message that you were getting.
It was a message she had brought with her life, with her birth. And when people came and pitied me, when people came and pitied her, I laughed to myself. And people said, what a funny woman with such a big challenge in her life, she's still smiling. That was not my smile. That was Tamanna's smile.
That is such an amazing journey that you've had. I was just seeing Princess Diana at the opening of Tamanna school, right?
This is so funny. I was a simple teacher in Delhi Public School, Arkipuram then. I wrote to the Queen Elizabeth asking her to come because with a great struggle, I had got the land and we had just still been in jhuggies. So the first thing that the lady in waiting from there, from the royal family said, you're writing to the royalty and you're inviting them to visit, the jhuggies. However, there seems to be some meaning in your letter. How dare you, could you have done it? So we appreciate that. That's what the royalty said. It also said that Lady Diana is coming in 92. And so we had got the land by then. And when I informed the ministry that was going to happen, the money followed to build just about the basement. And when she arrived, people thought she must be having some big connections. I promise you, the only connection I had was God.
I think that is...
I had no other connection. I was a simple teacher, but I loved my kids. My kids loved Tamanna. So I think it was the call from the heavenly abode that brought Lady Diana to Tamanna.
No, and that must have brought so much of attention also, and opened a few more doors to take things forward.
Can you believe it? The same year my Padma Shree followed.
Wow.
This was 92. And so not that Padma Shree or Padma Bhushan have ever mattered to me as an individual, because with all the smiles that one saw, there was a heart behind. It was a sad heart. It was a heart that sighed, but it was not the sighs that I shared with the world. With the world, I shared the smiles. I cried alone. I had a son who was 2 years and 9 months, and my husband was in the army. He went pillar to post, fighting for the nation, and here I was looking after my 2 children, one constantly in my lap and the other one bringing the bottle. I mean, she couldn't even sip water. But my little Vikram, he was like a God-sent elder brother, singing lullabies in the pram. And when I joined DPS, it was because I had to admit Vikram. And I was a college lecturer with the UGC. And the principal there, Mr. Lugani, he was a smart lad. He said, if you join DPS, we'll give admission to your son. Oh my God. When I went home, I was told, "Le, hun tu teacher banenge." Because I think to be a professor is different. I have 60 years of experience behind me when you talk to me. I started teaching 1964 when I was just about 21, having topped MA. And then 2 years later, I got married, pillar to post, picked up jobs, brought up children. But there was this calling that the disabled cannot be shut in the cupboards. They cannot be under the beds. They have to be brought out, and Tamanna will lead.
I think it was really to create a better education system for the differently abled, and Tamanna was the catalyst to make that happen.
Yeah, not only the education system, but the mindset of the people.
That's true.
Because people had never seen these kids out in the open, in the
they were always
parks.
hidden, put
They
away.
were always protected. The parents were too afraid. They're different. They'll be mocked. They'll be unnecessarily questioned. So was I. My husband was in Dihu Road and I had to go to Pune. Army wife, major's wife. Of course, now when he retired, he was a major general. And I would take the second class compartment and other women would sit away from me. They said, "Ye छुआछूत की बीमारी हो गई है." Somebody said, "इस पे झाड़ू
फूक करो, कुछ करो.
Somebody would say, "ये आपके ना पुराने जन्मों का कुछ वो है." And I would tell them, सब कुछ हो सकता है, लेकिन मुझे तो इसका जन्म बनाना है, मुझे ये जन्म अपना बनाना है, मुझे कुछ करना है, मुझे कुछ करके दिखाना है. And that kept me going. Went to Sai Baba, went to all the temples in the world. But the only place that really, really made a difference was my trip to the US when Tamanna was 4.
True. That's when a lot of things started falling in place for her.
Till then, India didn't have facilities. And she went to a school, Esperanza, which means in Latin, hope.
Wow.
And Tamanna and hope coincidentally meant the same thing. I went with a hope and I came back with hope for others.
Yeah, because you came back armed with knowledge of what can be done.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And also to make others understand Tamanna may be different, but she's beautiful. She's born to create many Tamannas, and we established the school. The first one, we have 3 now, and Lady Diana came. I had a job, I had a family,
And the school.
and
to
I
run.
had Tamanna, but I had the world with me. Whatever I did was blessed.
I think you bring up, you said that you went everywhere, but it was just God. Like you wrote a letter as a simple teacher to
Yes.
to the Queen of England, and Princess Diana came to. Because when a celebrity comes or somebody famous comes, it sheds light on
Yes.
on a situation, and it kind of garners support
Yes,
for
yes.
those who want to be a part of that journey. So it would, like you said, it was completely blessed. And I do believe that, because when you do something with a pure heart, just pure heart, saying I just want to do something good, and you surrender to
Yeah.
a higher power, to the
Yes,
universe, magic happens.
Magic. As they say, sweetest songs tell of saddest stories. It was sweet till it would sometimes lead to sobs.
I'm sure it was tough. It was not a simple straight line journey. I'm sure
No,
there
it
were so
wasn't.
many ups and downs.
Yeah, but any research, any discovery, any improvement, her first sound, her first step meant steps of the others. Her one sound meant speech for the other.
And it's possible. It's possible.
It's possible. There is no failing. There is no going back. It's only upwards. And I must say, the government of India, the state government, friends, followers, students, everybody was with me. I wasn't alone. And my biggest, I should say, 2 people in my life, one at 3 and another in his 40s, 30s, 40s, my husband. There were 2 men who were holding my
So sweet.
hands. And it was amazing how they actually understood the need. Otherwise, I would have been a lonely mother in another country, left by herself. But that was not so. That's the beauty of being an Indian. You have a home, you have a heart, you have a family, you have your in-laws, you have your parents, you have your brothers, you have your sisters and in-laws, and everybody. They were my army. My husband was fighting one army, but I had the support of the national army, which was human beings.
Yeah.
And then started the large number of schools, which were special schools, which were offering therapeutic intervention, special education,
Correct.
and then integration, and all of that started. And now when you look at these kids, we just had a fashion show. You must show some glimpses of that.
Yes, absolutely. It
And
was just recently on the founding day of Tamanna.
To be
right?
happy, you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I've learnt that. Imperfections have much greater happiness than everything else.
That actually brings me to my next question. You've been on 97 advisory boards, maybe 70 plus school management committees. How have you seen over the last 10, 20 years, have you seen attitudes change on special education, especially?
You see, we need the societal attitudinal change. Now, society consists of parents, society consists of policymakers, and the society consists of the students, the younger generation, the older generation, the parents, and so on. As far as the policy is concerned, we've got many more new policies. I mean, there's a lot of understanding, and every single day there is a ministry which brings out newer things. They're into research and everything. But what we really need is an educated man in this country, an educated woman in this country who understands the cause. You see, even now, kids in the classrooms are petrified of others who make fun of them.
So sensitization is really missing.
Sensitization, and heads of the schools have to be more, responsible for doing a lot of, what should I say, showcasing and talking to the parents, talking to the students to accept them.
Creating awareness within the school ecosystem is also very important.
And awareness and participation, because these kids must have friends, they must have an opportunity to play with them, and they should be recognized for their gifted, every human being that takes birth has a gift. So I understood what were Tamanna's gifts. Her best gift is her smile and socializing. Once she started talking, I realized that all that was in her mind. And when the words came, they came in sentences and idioms. And now when you meet her, she'll hug you and kiss you. She'll win you all over. These kids have that pure love. They have instinctive knowledge. They have a kind of intellect that they're born with, and they would know who loves them and who loves them not. Now, if we all start loving them, you'll see the best of them. I'm so happy that the government of India has got now reservation for them in schools, also in jobs. But you see, what kind of jobs can they do? My kids here in Tamana schools, we have 3 of them. They're very good with the computers, and we're now going to do research in artificial intelligence. I realize that there is so much to be discovered, there's so much to be found, and we as a nation are far ahead of other countries for one reason, and that reason is our emotions. Every family in this country, wherever such a child is born, they embrace the child. They may not go out with the child so much, but they're ready to give their whole self to them.
That's the sort of sense that you've understood over the years.
Husbands and wives don't part when they have a special child. In other countries, it's so common that there is a divorce rate which has been, enumerated when there's a problem with a child. Here, the families look after them and not away homes.
That makes a lot of difference, because you're part of a social structure that gives you so much strength.
Love, so much, bonding that these kids feel wanted. I have hundreds of them who are with the Tamanna schools, and I realize that every parent wants to do
the best for
the best for the child.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
And we're offering, we have a school for autism, and the autistic children, they'll slap you, they pull my hair, they'll do everything that brings them into social life, because they're happy by themselves, talking to themselves, shaking up their legs. But in a year or two, you see them smiling, you see them shaking hands, you see them saying namaste. I mean, that is my award, not a Padma Shree, not a Padma Bhushan, not to be on the committees, but to be loved by these children. For those children to, when I reach here every morning, they come running to me, their hearts with pure love.
I think love is such a strong powerful medium that can change so much.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Love is everything.
Over the years, you have interacted with probably more people than most: parents, students, children, special needs children, politicians, government officials, in India and outside. What are some of the sort of deep lessons that you've learned about human behavior? What do you think we should do going forward, and what are some of the things you feel we should, drop or leave?
You'll be so surprised. There is no complexity. There is absolutely no confusion. There is only one factor which actually brings home the message, which is based in four-lettered word LOVE, love. Wherever I've gone, wherever I've presented my case, wherever I have sought help, if you're honest with the cause you're carrying in your heart, in your head, on your shoulders, and your body speaks for it, everybody comes forward.
So authenticity and being genuine.
And being truthful. Many people ask me, tell us about any of your, bad experiences. I said, I can't create one when I haven't had one.
That is just so
I
amazing.
can't create one when I haven't had one. I mean, whomever I speak to, whomever I meet, wherever I am, I just have to tell them, ऐसा हुआ, तो ये हुआ, अब देखो. And they say, अच्छा ऐसा हो सकता है. मैंने कहा, आप जाइए, अपने घर जाइए, अपने गांव जाइए, अपनी स्ट्रीट में जाओ, अपनी गली में जाओ, बोलो, हम आके एक वहाँ थोड़ा सा एक कमरा दे दो, हम एक छोटी सी जगह खोल लेंगे. And now, today, we have hundreds of them in little places. Nizamuddin, I mean, name the place. And people have started understanding that they're a part of life. They are not any of those who have been under the pressure of a ghost or anything. They are as much God's creation as you and me.
Yeah. So your experience has been one of a lot of acceptance and love and support, and that's primarily it's come, you're saying, from your being very honest and truthful and genuine in your interactions.
And optimistic.
I think that goes without saying.
I think that's the main thing. You can't give up, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel so strongly that life is beautiful. And you can make it more beautiful, not only for yourself, but for each other.
Yeah.
If you see the beauty in the other person.
That is so good.
If you only want to see the ugliness,
वही दिखेगा आपको.
वही दिखेगा. You are a mirror.
Yeah.
And people are so good. Humanity is so beautiful. I'm not talking about the wars that are on. I'm talking about the people who have to be forced to go to war. Yeah. I'm talking about humanity. Nobody wants to fight. Nobody wants to oppose a good cause. At least I haven't found one.
So that's just such an amazing philosophy, that if you are filled with love and optimism and hope, that's really what you will reflect in the world, and people will come and support you because you're coming from that space. And like you said,
I had
the world is a mirror.
7,000 students in DPS, where I was a principal for over 18 years. I was in DPS for 40 years. And each one of them met Tamana. And I think now she teaches in DPS, the little babies. And she's been teaching for 21 years. So the kids who went through her 21 years ago are in different places. We'd recently gone to San Francisco, and a car full of kids, students from Berkeley, came to meet her.
Wow.
Many of the dipsites are studying there. Raghuram Rajan was my student.
Wow.
Arjun Bhagat. I mean, when he went to America for the first time, I still remember, he was so well trained, he touched my feet before going. And that picture still remains with me. And today, he understands what I'm all about. You see, these are the kids that one brings up unknowingly, but as your own kids. So schools are a great place for educating for the cause. You're asking me, how do we do it? If there is something in all the schools of the nation, private or government or semi-private or semi-government, if these kids are seen, if their stories are told, if their lives are drawn, there will be a kindling of that beauty of the heart which doesn't come up even when you see beggars on the street. But when you see these kids trying to speak, wobble, sing, dance, take part in fashion shows, art shows, people will realize we are wasting our time. Look at them. So that comparison takes place. You'll be so surprised how we've drawn these lessons for people who've never touched their hands, who've never given them a chummi, who've never hugged them because they thought
It's a disease
and
that'll
us.
pass on, or
No,
we are different.
They are they and we are us. But when you bring them together, it's like clapping a hand. And that clapping is for the society, for the nation, for the progress of the world, for understanding that you may be different, but you're actually one and the same. Aren't we all different?
True.
You look at me and I look at you. If these kids could be there and find a place, I'm sure even if they sit in the parliament, they'll be able to make others understand that we have better hearts.
So before we leave, just one last question I wanted to ask you. There are a lot of people who are going through different kinds of challenges. It could be, if you have a child who has special needs, or it could just be, any kind of a challenge. You could be unwell, or you have a tough family situation, or anyone going through a challenge, because you've overcome such huge challenges and obstacles with so much beauty and support. This wall is testament to that. What is the one piece of advice that you would give someone who's, seeing something and they're feeling overwhelmed by that situation?
I think it's very important that they have counseling. They have, in this country, we haven't yet got that concept,
Yeah, mental health is still a taboo subject in so many areas.
And also, you see, they have to go to the counselors. I wish we could have some counseling places where people would know that you can go and talk your heart out. They will get the right kind of guidance. Or when the child is born and the pediatrician or the child birth, the doctor can actually make them aware and give them some literature or some talking or revisits and get them to the counselor who will tell them who's available for what kind of, starting point. But I think all of that is important, but the most important thing is the presence of these kids all over. In the buses, in the parks, in the shopping areas, in the jobs, in the schools, in the kindergartens, and I think that
just familiarity and acceptance
and media.
will increase.
How many shows do you have? Media. You're doing a wonderful job by talking about it with me. Many people will see it and they will understand the beauty, the love, the charm these kids have instead of being scared of them. So I think that's it. Or each of these kids is born with a reason. You know what that reason is? The reason is that you guys are foolish, fighting with each other.
Yeah, they're here to teach us to love unconditionally.
All they want is love and the joy that comes from love. When you go down into the school and look around, you'll see those happy faces and you'll start smiling.
You've been a working mum, and I know a lot of working mothers feel so much guilt sometimes and they're juggling. What's something that you would tell women who are working, managing homes, managing families, and I think constantly struggling with working mum's guilt?
Yes, it is tough. I mean, I cannot be unrealistic and I cannot sermonize. All these, I've gone through it. I'm still going through it. Like today, I had to send a cake to Tamanna's workplace, and I knew you were coming, and I was late. And so I had to quickly go to the place, order the cake, and tell them to send it to the space, to her school, because she wanted to celebrate the fashion show. So juggling is certainly necessary. You have to have some magic. But above all, you need to have moments by yourself to tell yourself this is either a choice or a compulsion. You have to make the most of it. And for all of this, education is required.
That's true.
I hope we'll do another program
Yes,
just
absolutely.
on education.
Yes.
What is education? Is it policy? Is it practice? Is it for mothers only? Is it for fathers too? And is it for everybody?
I think
The
education
key
is,
word is education.
yeah. Because I think education anyways is such a vast subject, and I think our system in India is at a precipice of some major overhaul. I think overhaul that's been long due also. So let's see which way the wind blows. But I think another conversation on education is
But
definitely
I'd
due.
like to say one thing.
Yes, please.
We need teachers.
Yeah.
We need teachers with a heart. We have books, we have policy, we have schools, we have furniture, we have everything. But we need teachers.
Yeah. Teachers who are passionate about teaching and not
And
just
also
a means to an end.
there's so much to talk about that.
Yeah, it's true. So that conversation is pending. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
time
you.
out to be with us here today. That's it on Unbox with Tanvi, and we'll catch you again on another episode soon.